It's Alan Boyd again, video number 4. The result of this double standard leaves blacks wanting to bring everyone to the table to talk about race all the time. They claim we have not dealt with race in this country, and it is like the elephant or gorilla in the room that everyone sees, but no one wants to talk about. If blacks are sure that we have not discussed important issues on race, then why don't they bring them up? They have a big voice in this country. When we discuss race in this country, we leave opinions of so called racists out of the discussion. A white working class middle aged man from the South might very well have some resentments towards blacks he would like to address. Right now, he knows he cannot say those things in public or he'll be labeled a racist. While a black person who protests with Black Lives Matter is already publicly stating how they feel about whites. So when the blacks demand more discussion on race, they want the double standard that is currently in place in America to be there during the discussion. Blacks, for instance, could bring up a statistic that proves they are struggling in America. They, they might then try and pin the responsibility for improving that statistic on all of America, possibly by demanding money be thrown at the issue, or else we who oppose the funding are to blame for the problem and not blacks. The only good counter argument might be one that implies something negative about blacks. Blacks may not like it and demand that point of view be silenced as racism. Blacks are used to discussions that have rules in their favor and expect it. That is why it appears blacks want to talk about race so much and whites do not. Most whites view blacks as fools when it comes to their racial views, but no one admits it in public. One should wonder why. Blacks are saying everything they want to concerning race right now. They want to have whites dialogue with them under set terms that favor blacks. In reality, blacks do not want to have an open and fair discussion on race like I am having here. The neocons and Democrats don't want to either, because it exposes their schemes. And we all know the Bible talks about the whole world scheming against God, all the powers in the world. Now that we have established that there is a double standard, we need to understand how it is controlled and why. I want to go over this again, even if I am repeating myself sometimes. The blacks want the double standard, and the Democrats have to go along with it to get the support of blacks. Neocons give blacks the double standard, but want things in return for it. So the neocons control the double standard. Blacks take the double standard and then always try to take even more and more. The Michael Brown case is the perfect example of this. To many blacks, Michael Brown was just like James Byrd. Few men and women in other races took up the full case of Michael Brown, but the media gave it their full attention. It was a horrible case for black leaders to take up because he appeared so guilty. In this case, the neocons did not grant Michael Brown a victim status. I can almost guarantee you that 20 years from now, if a young black man behaves the way Michael Brown did, black leaders will probably not take up his case because they will not be allowed to by the current political environment. That is because the neocons will have tightened up on giving out the double standard by then. Since the Iraq War started, the double standard has been growing. Who would have thought you could videotape or record a bunch of frat brothers on a bus using the N-word and it would get national attention? When Bill Clinton was in office, that would have been considered an invasion of privacy. The neocons approve of this 100%. If they have objected and said it was going into people's private lives, that going into people's private lives was going too far, the tapes would not have been as big of a deal. Neocons also could have counterattacked by pointing out how much blacks show their resentment. What I am trying to say is neocons are the ones allowing for this huge double standard while pretending that they are against it. As time moves on, things are going to change as usual, so I doubt very much that neocons will support this strong of a double standard in the long term. So then that's when they'll look to me and they'll say, "Hey, Christian told us." Once they don't, blacks will be forced away from getting someone like Michael Brown a victim status. Blacks enjoy taking a victim status in America. As Americans with power, they have sat at the table and bargained for a victim status in return for other things, whether they are aware of it or not. Not only do they overlook the Iraq War, they allow for an unjust economic system that has not been friendly towards their lower income families. AbolishPropertyTaxes.com. Hopefully, blacks can reassess what they should ask for at the bargaining table. I was never asking. They just give up the double standard because it is unfair, and that would be the end of the story. Go and ask for something better with your power. End of part 4. Thanks for tuning in again.